Hi, happy Monday. Happy Monday. 2022 is moving really, really fast. But hey, y'all. I am Lily. I am the founder of Healing She Got Faith. I am your self love advocate. And of course, I am the host of the Healing She Got Faith show. So, welcome to Healing She Got Faith. Healing She Got Faith is a safe place for adults dealing with grief and or on their self-love journey. We discuss the power of grief and grief beyond death, which simply means grieving outside of death, as well as we advocate for grief education. So welcome. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. If you're returning, thank you for returning. Thank you for showing me all the love and support and all of that. I appreciate you. So happy Monday. So let's start off with our check-in. So how am I feeling? I am tired. this this weather change, not the weather change. The weather did change though. The time change is what I was trying to say. So the time change, it was like 80 degrees, and plus it was like 80 degrees a couple days ago, and now it's like 40 degrees. So the weather, I think I'm just coming up on the end of the year and trying to get things situated and just ready to move forward with this, with the business and things of that nature. So, um, yeah, I think so. I'm tired. I had therapy this morning, and so with therapy, we talked a lot about some of the blockages I have, and I don't feel heavy, but it's just it has my mind in like a wander um state, I guess you could say. So yeah, but I think overall I'm okay. I would say today I'm coasting. I'm coasting. I'm not bad, but I'm not like my best. So, but I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with it. I just think that I'm extremely tired, and I think I'm just really hungry for success right now, and I'm really hungry for things to move a certain way. And so, as I'm going through therapy, and as I'm going through quite a few transitions in my life, I'm trying to balance that out because while I feel like I'm in a pretty good place, I also know that like growing never stops. And so anytime you get to a certain level, you're like, okay, cool, I finally made it. But then it's like, oh, shoot, the next couple steps are needed. And so I am just really trying to find that balance of the small wins, celebrating the small wins, and then also to like just being honest with myself. I am definitely at a season in my life where I'm very, very much honest with myself, and I'm no longer putting on a facade to tell people how I feel, to lie about how I feel to people. Like, I am very much in tune with my mind, body, and soul to the point of I have, I can't lie to other people. So, um, it's a holiday season. My mom's birthday is this week, and yeah. I'm coasting through. If you listen to last week's episode, talked about surviving the holidays. And so, I think I'm at that stage in my grief process as of this point, and I'm just trying to survive. Trying to figure out what that looks like, and what I'm doing as far as like self care and giving myself the space to feel what I feel. So, yeah, that's my check-in. So I'm here. I think that's a good point though. As I'm talking is I actually, even though it's in my notes, I didn't actually realize like we were only 2 days away from my mom's birthday, which makes sense as to why I'm so fatigued. Also, yeah, just to be quite frank, I'm also PMSing. So between the time change, PMS, and grief, your girl is like barely making it, I think, on a physical and emotional level. So I giving those three things alone, I think I'm doing pretty good. So, I will say this. Let me say this. I've been helping a friend out, probably for like the last week, and I have really like just felt really good by helping somebody else out, and it's probably because of just how like I felt on a personal level. But I have really enjoyed like having conversations with somebody in the morning, having conversations with somebody in the evening, um, just riding around and having these conversations, being able to talk about life. And I guess I felt like wanted or needed. And I think that's something I haven't felt in a very, very long time. And so to have like this last week have that, I feel like there's been a part of me that has been fulfilled that I just haven't felt in a long time. I do a lot of things by myself. I'm always by myself. It's just me and my dogs, and so to have like another interaction, I have really just felt that. I think it's safe to say that like humans are not meant to be alone, but um, a lot of us end up being alone. And I don't believe we were ever created to be alone, even though there is a balance of like alone time and human interaction. So to have this interaction that I had for the last week, I really appreciate it, and I'm really having like a good time with it. So I think that's also something that has been keeping me afloat as well, is like um just having like another human having to like be in my life at this point, which has been pretty cool. Because again, I don't get it a lot, like, to be honest. Like, I know a lot of people, but I do a majority of the things by myself. So yeah, so I think that's why I'm okay, even though there's like three different things like coming my way in life, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm cool, like I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst either. So there's that. So that was our check-in. Let's go on to our icebreaker. If you are new here, we do an icebreaker every show, and I will always do the same icebreaker. It doesn't matter if I'm speaking at a conference. It doesn't matter if I'm speaking on the podcast with a guest. It's the same icebreaker. If you ever join any of my programs, we do the same thing. I have affirmation cards. I pick different ones each time, and I pick a card, read it, see if it resonates. If it does resonate, talk about it, and then we kind of just move forward from there. It's a really good conversation starter. It makes people comfortable. It intrigues the mind, and so like people get jittery, and like those awkward like first time speaking. So like I have found that this activity has always allowed people to break the ice and not feel awkward about it. So I love it. I just did it at a speaking engagement last weekend, and I have two speaking engagements this week. So yeah, I'm super super excited about it. So yeah. Um, so I picked She Believed She Could, so she did, and it's 50 inspirational insight cards. I have actually not used these in a long time. This was one of the very first decks that I got. So this is by Peter Pauper Press Inc. I don't see a author. Let me see. I always I always try my best to give credit. Let me see. The last card usually has an author on it. Yeah, so it just says Pauper Press. So yeah, so She Believed She Could, so she did, by Peter Pauper Press. And I know for these, they are mostly quotes from inspirational people. So I picked two. So the first one says, "Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise." Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise, by Maya Angelou. Follow Your Inner Moonlight by Allen Ginsberg. Um, so if I'm just being honest, they're not really speaking to me. I don't really like feel anything when I read these. Follow Your Inner Moonlight, into a day's break that's wondrously clear, I rise. I think Maya Angelou is super inspirational, just the person she was and just everything she did for society. But I don't know, I'm not feeling these two cards. I'm gonna actually pick another one because I'm just not feeling it. Okay, so this one says the most effective way to do it is to do it. And then I'm picking another one. This one says what you do today can improve all your tomorrows. So these two I kind of connect with a little bit more. The most effective way to do it is to do it. I think as an entrepreneur, that has been my biggest life lesson is just to do it. I think so much like trying to have things in order, trying to have everything planned, trying to have like 1, 2, 3 steps, and sometimes like all you have is just the act to do. So I can resonate with that. What you do today can improve all your tomorrows. I definitely think having plans can help, and I think like you have to take every day serious. As far as like your goals are when you think about your goals, like what you do today will affect tomorrow. Like if you do what you have to do today, then tomorrow will more than likely ease. But at the same time, that comes with balances. So I'm like one of those people like I have to like balance it out. Like I don't think I'm a perfectionist as far as like I have to have each minute accounted for. I have to do X, Y, and Z. I do make to-do lists, but I don't necessarily have like between 10 and 11, this is what I'm doing between 9 and, I don't necessarily do that, but I do have like a to-do list that I want for the day, just so the next day can um, function away, especially like if I have speaking engagements. Like this week I have speaking engagements, I have doctor's appointments. So I have to make sure that what I'm doing is like I'm being organized with my time so that because I do have appointments this week, things roll smoothly. But sometimes I don't have any appointments, and so I kind of have like a clearer schedule. So yeah, so that was our icebreaker. She believed she could, so she did. I will have those quotes um, in the show notes. I'll put it all four. But yeah, those first two, that hasn't happened in a while. Like I usually am like, ooh, yeah, these resonate. But those first two, I didn't know what I was reading. Okay. Okay, so welcome to episode 45. And it is the 1 year birthday anniversary of the Healing She Got Faith Talk Show. Yes, y'all. So I'm super, super excited about that. We have been here 1 full year, and that is a testament to um, everything that I am like just been working towards, everything that I've been focusing on, everything that I have truly just put into Healing She Got Faith. At the same time, it's crazy because when I started the Healing She Got Faith show, I actually started on a radio platform. And as you can see, we are no longer on a radio platform. And so that came with a huge boundary that I had to set with myself because I didn't feel that I was getting the representation. Also, too, like a lot of people don't know how radio runs. So radio runs off of people basically like renting spaces and times from the radio station. So a lot of people think that radio stations only get their money from like commercials and things like that, which is a part of it, but also too like when you think about being on the radio, like there's so much that goes into it. And it's a really fun thing to do. Like I loved being on the radio, but also too like you have to make sure you mesh with other people and you have to make sure your dreams and alignments. So I won't take away. I learned a lot working on that radio platform. I learned a lot. Like I have to say that. Also, along with learning, it just taught me stuff about the industry. It also taught me about how I move when I partner with people from this point on. And so I had to make the executive decision in the summertime that I would not be partnering with this particular organization because our values and morals did not align. And I function at a certain rate, at a certain way when it comes to my business. And I did not feel that my partnership was functioning at that level of my brand. And so I had to make the executive decision, because what was happening was, because things were going wrong on that end, I didn't feel that there was accountability taken, and that because of things out of my control, my brand was suffering. And so I had to make the executive decision that, thank you for the life lessons, thank you for the partnership, thank you for this, but I have to remove myself. And so it's not ever easy to do that. Now, and I'll say this, it doesn't mean that my perspective was 100% right. Like, I'm sure that there were some things that I could have done better. And it's not that I'm sure, like, I know there were some things I could have done better. But I'm at a stage in my life when I feel like I'm working more hard, or I'm working more for your brand versus mine, I have to let that go, because my brand does come first, because this is my brand, this is my livelihood, this is how I make my money, this is how and I remember being in conversation with these partners and them telling me, like, no, you got to let your brand go, like, you got to focus on the radio, like, you're going to have to let that go. And at the time it made sense, but as I went on, and I was like, oh, absolutely not. I'm working more harder for y'all than I am for my organization. That's not gonna work. Because again, this is my livelihood. Because at the end of the day, when it all is said and done, they were getting their payments. Okay. So they were getting their payments. And so regardless of what I had going on in Healing She Got Faith, they were getting their monthly check. So I had to make sure I was getting my check from whatever I had to do to get paid. And so again, when I found myself that, like, I'm steady paying folks, but I'm not really getting nothing in return, I gotta go. I gotta set that boundary. And so I had to set that boundary. That was a huge boundary for me to set, and for me to advocate for myself when it came to my brand. And it was hard because I really enjoyed that partnership. I really enjoyed the time I had. I mean, I had even flew out there to meet them in person, to support them in a production that they had. So it's not like I didn't like them, but towards the end, you have to set those boundaries, and that's why you don't get connected to anything, because it can end. Like, the one thing that you love the most, it can always end. And so, I wish that platform the best. I definitely am working my butt off for Healing She Got Faith. So yes, that was a story I was not planning on sharing, but here we are. So you're welcome. um, but yeah, it's been a year. I love the talk show. I love how I've grown as a person. I love how I've grown as a podcaster. I'm still working on getting the YouTubes and things like that better. I hate my YouTube. I'm gonna just say that I freaking hate it. But I'm gonna work a little bit harder. I've started to dib and dab into editing and things like that with the podcast. So I'm definitely am working on some things as far as that goes. So happy birthday to the talk show. Whoop, 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 whoop. So yes, today is the 1 year birthday of my talk show. Also, it's episode 45. So we have had 45 episodes, which obviously means that at some point we skipped some weeks. Because it should be 52 episodes, but we're not too far behind that, but still. And I think that goes that was one of the reasons why I had to let go of the radio platform too, because in June, every episode that I had given them was just messed up, and it just really just put a bad taste in my mouth. And again, when I feel like I am not being compensated, or I'm not being Carvey, when I'm not, I don't know. I don't like when I put my all into it and I trust somebody else with my stuff, and there is a mistake that has happened, an apology isn't even given. I have a really hard time with that. And I have a really hard time with, if you can't even take accountability for what you did, I can't stay. And that goes for business, that goes for relationship, that goes for family, that goes like I can't do it anymore. Like I used to be very forgiving and be like, oh, like it's okay, like you're human. But now I'm just like, no, because I just work too hard. Like I just work too fucking hard to allow somebody to come in and do what they want when it has nothing to do with them. Like, especially when I'm paying for a service, like I'm paying you to have this time slot. I don't have time for that. So yeah. Okay, I'm done venting. Okay. Also, too, what I wanted to talk about, because episode 45 is celebrations all around, because my mom's birthday is on Wednesday. So how old would she have been? Let me do the math real quick, because I'll be forgetting. She would have been 61. That is nuts. Okay. So my mom would have been 61 come Wednesday. Her birthday is November 16th. And it is the 1 year mark of the Healing She Got Faith show. As on top of, we just had a grand opening, on top of this, the holidays are coming. So I felt it was only necessary to talk about celebrations all around. And so I think what I've learned to do is to turn days that represent sadness into something positive. So, normally I would do something in the memory of my mom. Like I would do something that reminded me of her, that represented her, and that's the way that I keep our relationship going. I'm not gonna lie to you, I have not thought about it this year. I do have a doctor's appointment on her birthday, and that is significant because my mom was always a family member that made sure people went to the doctor, made sure people was getting their medicine. My mom was always that person, and I did go like 2 months without my medicine because of insurance and finding a doctor, all type of stuff. And so I do feel like I didn't necessarily have anything planned. But when I found this new doctor and the only day they had to meet was November 16th, I was like, oh, absolutely. Like, I felt like that was God and that was my mom. Like, hey, you don't have nothing planned. Here's the plan. So, and what that would look like, I'll probably wear purple on Wednesday. I'll probably drink a mimosa. I'll probably just do something that I needed to do in order to represent her. And so I think it's important when we have these days that, if your body is telling you not to, like honestly really don't know what I'm going to do that day besides go to the doctor. And so if your body is telling you that, then it's important just to follow that. um sometimes we have this great plan, we'll do a balloon release, we'll do all type of stuff, but at the end of the day, like, you have to follow what it is, and it's okay if you do absolutely nothing. Like, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to have an agenda for every year and every date that it happens, and if you do, like, that's okay too, but also too, like, you shouldn't feel pressured to do that. Some of the things that we look at is you might have to call off work. You might plan a birthday party. You might plan a solo trip. You might plan a family venture. You might plan a dinner, or you might lay in bed all day and watch your favorite show. Like, um, it really just depends on you and how you're grieving and what that looks like for you. I This year I read the book Grief is Love um, twice. I read it and then I listened to the audiobook. And in that book, she talks about how she was working for President Obama, and they had the starting day of My Brother's Keeper initiative, and how the day fell on, it was either her mom's birthday or the day that her mom died. I can't really remember. But she talks about how she told her boss, which technically was Barack Obama, President Barack Obama at the time, that basically she couldn't work that day. And so she was kind of nervous to say it at first, because who's going to tell President Barack Obama you can't work that day? But the end result ended up being like, okay, well, if you can't be there, then we can't start that day. And so sometimes it's as simple as you advocating for yourself. Like, this day has a significant meaning, and I honestly cannot be available that day. And so, all of us don't work with President Barack Obama, but like we deal with that on a daily with our jobs. So like there has to be things that are like, hey, I cannot sit here and do this today because of X, Y, and Z. And so I encourage you to like advocate for yourself. I encourage you to really sit with yourself and to really sit here and, think about ways that you can advocate for yourself in those days. Like, what days really bother you? And what can you do to help support yourself? Whether that tell your boss, like, hey, I can't work this day. What are my options? Or telling your kids, like, hey, I know you have a game that day, mommy cannot make it. What are my options? Like, um, and if you have a spouse, like, hey, you may have this, you may work late, whatever the case may be. This day has a significant meaning to me. What are our options? And setting that boundary, sticking to it, and allowing yourself to do what you need to do in order to heal. So for me, what that looks like this year is I'm gonna wait and see. I know I'm going to the doctor, like I said, but I am going to wait and see how and what I want to do that day. So yeah, I should celebrate my 1 year talk show, so I might do that tonight. I probably I'll find something to do. Um, but yeah, so it's a celebration all around, and I want to encourage you, if you're here today, whether you listen to it today or another day, I just really want you to celebrate your small wins. I want you to take yourself seriously. I want you to be in a place where you are comfortable enough to set those boundaries and live the life you need to live in order to heal. Okay? Okay. So, what are our takeaways? Set boundaries, set those boundaries. 2, take the days you need to take. And 3, advocate for yourself. Those, I would say, those are the 3 main takeaways from today. Setting boundaries is going to be huge. I mean, I could go on and on about the situation with the radio platform, but at the end of the day, it came down to I had to do what was best for myself and my brand, and I had to do it unapologetically. I couldn't let anybody um, take away from that because I've worked so hard for it. 2, I have to take the days, and I've been like that when I work for somebody. I've been like that when I worked with my sister. I have a hardcore no on certain days. I will not work. I will not even offer to work. I'm not going to check no email. Like, it is what it is. And then 2, advocate for yourself. What areas do you need to advocate for yourself? And is it food? Is it work? Is it kids? Is it your marriage or relationship? Is it your in-laws? Is it your parents? Is it your dogs? Is it your friendships? What areas do you need to advocate for yourself? And I think you need to start advocating for yourself today. Okay. So, what is today's affirmation? Today's affirmation is I give myself permission to grieve. And I think this is so important because so many times we do not give ourselves permission to grieve, and we allow it to fester in our bodies, and it affects us. So today, and from this point on, we are going to give ourselves permission to grieve. So let's say it together. I give myself permission to grieve. And if you want to add a little razzle dazzle, because I am worthy to grieve, because I am worthy to heal, because I have the right to grieve, because I have the right to heal. Okay. So I give myself permission to grieve because I am worthy and I have the right to grieve and to heal. I am so proud of you all. If you have been on this journey with me, I thank you so much. It has been a year with just the talk show alone. And it's going on what we just celebrated 2 years with Healing She Got Faith. Yeah, because I launched the blog in 2020. So it's been 2 years as a organization and 1 year as a talk show. I'm so super proud. And if you have been here, I am just so appreciative of you and I thank you. And I want you to keep coming back. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to housekeeping. Housekeeping, we have the blog every Wednesday. That's the Healing She Got Faith blog. It comes out every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central. You can go to healingshegotfaith.com/blog. Also, and that's another thing. So we have Healing She Got Faith as an organization. We have Healing She Got Faith as a blog. Healing She Got Faith as a talk show. It all gets confusing, but just think of it as one umbrella. Healing She Got Faith. That's it. That's all. So we have the blog every Wednesday at 3 p.m. We have the talk show every Monday at 3 p.m. It's on pretty much every podcast platform: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Red Circle, um, all the major platforms. You should be able to look it up. So we're every Monday. We have a new grief group happening on Wednesday. So Wednesday we will start Grief Healing and Holidays grief group. That's a 5-week grief group where we mainly support people to get through the holidays. Okay. And then I think that's it. Oh, we have a retreat this weekend too. So if you're in St. Louis, we have the Hangout with Healing She Got Faith, which is Friday night to Saturday. You do not have to spend the night, but the price does not change whether you spend the night or don't spend the night. But we have a retreat. During this retreat, we'll do some journaling activities, we'll play some games, we'll do some karaoke, and it's really just a time, another support system to get through the holidays as we enter the holiday season. So that's all I got for you all today. I love you. Stay warm, stay safe. Remember to advocate for yourself. Remember to give yourself permission to grieve. And with all of that, remember to love you the way you love the world. Bye, guys. Love you.